Howdy, folks. It is Warlord Wednesday, and actually, I do promise that I'm going to show off a Warlord, as skeletal as it might be. But this is not a video about a Warlord Titan. This is about some terrain that I've been putting together for Adeptus Titanicus. I've got a lot of terrain projects done. I've got some terrain projects in process here that have not been painted up, but I've been going a little nuts with the terrain, and I am also building a new Legio, and maybe some battle reports coming up here in relatively short order. But we'll see. We'll see. But looking forward, I've got some Summer Titanicus events I'm going to be going to. I'm going to be hosting some games over at my joint. So yeah, I got the hobby juices flowing and looking forward to doing some Titanicus in the next couple weeks and upcoming months here. So I'm pretty excited about it. So anyways, you can't play Titanicus without terrain. And so I've been busy building and painting a lot of terrain. And so this is the industrial sector terrain that I put together. And I love this kit because you can kind of put it together in so many different ways. But you know, I've got a couple of different cranes here put together, and I kept the cranes separate from the stands, I guess you call them. I don't know, the pylons that they're sitting on, so that I can kind of mix and match them and whatnot. And so that ought to be fun. And I've got a bunch of this little scatter terrain pieces, and you know, these little guys aren't necessarily going to be blocking any line of sight for anything, but you know, they look good and they add some visual interest to the board and whatnot. So got my industrial sector terrain pretty much all painted up. I don't have it all here on the table, but I guess I could show a couple more pieces, like put together a lot of different things here. Got, you know, all kinds of pieces. I got only a couple more pieces of that, but basically I look at that as scatter terrain and kind of interest pieces, and the cranes are probably a little bit line of sight blocking and whatnot, and you can kind of see them right there next to the Reaver Titan chassis that I put together. But I'm going to put these away for a second. I've also been busy at work getting some hills, some custom hills put together, some mountains. I guess they would be in Titanicus scale. But you can see in the background here that I've made some lava terrain. So let's talk about that a little bit. This is basically what I did to make these is put together some slabs of the pink hard insulation foam, and then just kind of glue those together and then carve them up a little bit, and then cover it with spackle and glue mixture, and like put some toilet paper or paper towels in there and kind of mix it up and break it down and kind of spackle that all over to kind of make it tough and able to resist a little bit of chipping and damage. And then primed it and painted it up. And I've got some basic hills that are, you know, just going to be sort of some volcanic terrain there. Haha, some technical difficulties. We're back. Some line of sight, you know, this would certainly be line of sight blocking for a Reaver or even a Warhound, but, you know, even some, you know, can go hull down behind some of these pieces. I got a lot more of these pieces. I didn't put them all here, but you can kind of see what I did here. And I got a lava mat from Frontline Gaming. What they call a fat mat, the mouse pad mat. So, you know, maybe a Reaver Titan, I don't know if you can see that from your perspective, but that's covering everything up to about here on a Reaver Titan. A Warlord Titan would certainly be a lot bigger, of course, right? But I wanted to have some bigger pieces of terrain so that a Warlord Titan could play peekaboo with you. And, you know, it's nice to have some bigger pieces of terrain so that the big boys can find a little bit of respite and hiding place on the game mat. So, yeah, I've got a bunch of lava pieces here that are enough to really kind of cover a 4x4 table. So that should be fun. And lots of lava terrain pieces there. I'm not going to show them all just because there's a ton of them. Probably have those in a battle report sometime very, very soon. So take a look at those. And also, I've been putting together the Civitas terrain with the spires and there's a spires kit, and then there's the buildings kit, which is out of production at this point, I think. But I started adding some of my own little custom pieces to that, like this guy here. Like these are sort of the, you know, the gray plastic is from the kit. This white plastic is from Plastruct, I think, and that's just kind of a basic, you know, checkerboard pattern piece of plastic that you can cut to size and whatnot. And then these little pieces right here, of all things, I was used to be into Drop Zone Commander when that game still had a little bit more of a following. And I bought a bunch of terrain kind of augmentation pieces and sort of glued those on there. So kind of giving that a little bit more visual interest. Like I said, maybe block some line of sight for a Reaver over there. This guy might kind of block some line of sight for a Warlord, which is great. I got a couple of smaller buildings that I put together, and I've got one more spire. So I ordered a bunch of these kits off of eBay because they're not available in the store, which is kind of a bummer. But I built a bunch of spires and a bunch of buildings. I've got enough. That's pretty much what I've got so far, but I ordered a couple more sprues of the wall sections, and so hopefully that'll be enough to get some buildings on the table. So yeah, I've been busy at work making some terrain. So as soon as I get more building stuff, I'm going to put that together and paint that up, and so I'll have a nice city board worth of terrain, which is great. Maybe mix and match it with some of the industrial stuff. But the other thing that I've been working on that I'm pretty excited about is I am finally starting to build out my second Legio. And so I've got Vulturum for my traders. Time to do a loyalist faction. So I started building some Warlords and some Reavers for what I'm going to do next, and that is Legio Praesagius. So got 3 Reavers done. Oop, that guy's backwards. I got 3 Reavers done. These are all magged. I keep the weapons and the armor plates separate so that I can paint those separately. And then I've got 2 Warlords done. I'm certainly going to do more. But this is what I've got done so far. All this stuff is magnetized and ready to go. I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to paint these buggers. But I've got a good idea. I think I've got my paints picked out. Everybody's magged up and ready to go. So I'm thinking in terms of armament, Legio Praesagius. Actually, I'd love to hear if there's any Legio Praesagius players out there, the thinking behind what kind of weaponry you would put on your Reavers and your Warlords particularly. I'm not going to do a lot of Warhounds, at least not to start. I'm going to focus on this because I'm thinking I'm going to do Myrmidon Maniple, Exterminus Maniple, or what's the one that I've played before? It's the one where you can boost your repair rolls. Perpetua Maniple. I've had pretty good luck with that one. So far, I've only got some of the weapons magged, but they're looking good. And these are the Titans I've got built for Praesagius. So expect some painting updates on these guys pretty soon. So I'm pretty stoked. Got some terrain, got some mats like the lava mat. I've got a bunch of different mats for different games that I've got ready to play. More games coming up here in the very near future. I can't wait to share that content with you. So, hey, what do you think of the terrain? What pieces of terrain would you suggest that I get in addition to what you just saw? I've got a bunch of other terrain for other 6mm games. I play a lot of other 6mm games, particularly BattleTech, and I've got some great city terrain and mountain, hill terrain that works for that, but it's a little bit more clean sci-fi and not quite so grimdark. So I like the grimdark stuff with the Adeptus Titanicus. But what other terrain would you suggest? And give me some feedback, some ideas and thoughts. If you played Praesagius, or if you've played against Praesagius, how do you arm your Titans, and what kind of maniples do you feel like work pretty good for that Legio? Hey, appreciate you liking and subscribing and watching and coming to visit and listening to me ramble on about Titanicus. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.